Hello, and welcome to the Running in the Dark podcast, the podcast about business, not running. How is everyone? I hope everyone has had a good week. Thank you, as always, for continuing to join me on this podcast journey. I've actually had a really nice week. I'm trying to have a bit of a breather week, so I've managed to catch up on my dreaded admin a little bit, which is great. So, with today's episode, we are talking about something that I don't know, in a way, it feels like it should be obvious, but the reality of it, when you first start a business, when you first make that decision, I found really quite shocking and quite eye-opening. And that is that when you run a business of any shape and size, your personal life doesn't stop. So, this really is one of those really important lessons that if you are thinking about starting a business or if you are just starting your business, it's important to be aware of. And then hopefully you can start to make some contingency plans around. So, as always, please let me know if I've been helpful. It's amazing to have so many of you reach out to me on socials. I am everywhere at Also Katherine. My name is Katherine George. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you think of this week's episode. As always, if I've been helpful, let's do this.
Today's lesson: your life doesn't stop. Today's lesson is really important to me. And this is the one thing I wish someone had sat down and told me all about before I started my business. And that is that your life doesn't stop. I know what you're thinking. Of course it doesn't stop, Katherine. What a silly thing to say. But I actually want you to think about this and think about it in a lot of detail. Because it is true what they say, and when you're a business owner, the buck stops with you. But what does that really mean? Since starting this business, I've had some, quite dreadful personal stuff happen, really. I've had family bereavements. I've had some pretty serious health scares. I've left a horrendously abusive relationship. And through all of that and all of those things, I've had to keep going to work. You have to keep showing up. When you first start a business and you first get sick, it tends to be the first thing that really hits you, which is actually people still ring and people still email and there's no one to cover for you. You are on your own when you first start. And sadly, when that first happens, it is a real shock because your clients still expect things. You still have deadlines to meet. And what happens when there is only you and suddenly you're taken out? It means that if you do take that time off to recover, to heal, to do what you need to do in your personal life, you just come back to work to loads of stress and loads of extra work and loads of extra capacity. And that's really hard. It's really hard. There's no other way to describe it. And I don't care what business or what sector you're in. This is something you have to adjust to. It's something you have to be aware of. Now, please don't get me wrong. You might have really understanding clients or customers, and lots of people will give you empathy and they will give you breathing space. But the problem is they still want it done. They still want their strategy. They still want their ad campaign. They still want their new bathroom. When you are self-employed, when you are the person in charge, you are expected to show up all the time. It doesn't matter what's going on in your personal life. You still have to step into your professional life and you still have to deliver. This is the big thing I was really unprepared for. I remember the first time I got sick as a freelancer, I got pneumonia. I'm one of these people that I don't get coughs or colds, but when I get sick, I get really sick. And there was no one to cover. I still did the live event that night, took the week off and had double work when I got back. That was the first time it really hit me. And that's the thing when you're in charge. Now I'm now really lucky. I have a team, so I can now take sick leave or take time off. But when I come back, there is always stuff that only I can deal with. There's always stuff that escalates itself up the chain. And that's what it should be. But as long as you remember that on top of all of this business stuff going on, your personal life will keep ticking. Your personal life will keep going. And it's important to make the decision early of whether or not you're okay without that backup. Whether or not you're okay without knowing that you can call in sick and one of your colleagues will help you. Because I really wish someone had made it really clear to me at the beginning, because I may have done it slightly differently. Good luck.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Running in the Dark podcast. Please let me know if I've been helpful, any feedback, or if you have any questions I can help with. I'm on every social media network at Katherine, so find me, let me know, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good one.